Hey everyone, my name is Dustin. Today we need to do some maintenance to my truck. This is a 2002 F-150. Got a power steering leak. This running board is getting really unstable and I'd like to install a dash cam in it. So let's get this into the heated shop and get those fixed real quick. I'm pretty short, so I need to set up a little working platform. Nice. So the problem, so far as I can tell, is there is a return hose right underneath the air intake that has appeared to rusted out. So I've purchased a new one. Let's get this air intake off and get access to that hose. All right, so the hose that's leaking is right down in here. So far as I can tell, it is this junction point right here that's rusted out. And that actually goes up here to the reservoir. That line is actually the power steering cooler return line. So it's a low pressure line. It's already leaked down to minimum and this truck's just been sitting in that shed for 2 weeks now. So let's get this drained and get that hose off. So here we are underneath the front end of the truck. Let's see if I can do this without getting covered in power steering fluid. I'm gonna get covered in this, I can tell right now. There. Am I catching it, or is it all spilling right on my lap? Yep, right on my lap. Alright, now that I spilled that all over myself, it's drained. All over my pants, all over my sweatshirt. Wonderful. This hose right here is gonna get taken off. Alright, there we go. Ooh. Oh yeah, that clamp. See that, that factory compression clamp just rusted right away. All right, well, that I'm pretty sure was our problem. Now, how bad is it to get this out of here? There it comes. So there was nothing wrong with the pipe itself. It was simply that this thing. So this hose clamp on that end is what actually failed. Not the actual pipe or the tube, not the rubber either. Rubber actually still feels fine. It was this little clamp. Crazy. So here's the new part, and holding it up to the old one, yeah, that pretty much looks the same. We got to imagine this tube would be on the end here. So that definitely looks like the right part. The new part didn't come with these clamps though, so it looks like we're gonna have to reuse these. And because I actually have to fish this through some crusty areas, I dug through my parts and I found this rubber plug that fits over the end of the tube here. So I'm just gonna cover up the end of that tube so it doesn't get stuff in it. There, it's in that clip. Sorry, I can't even see that clip, so there's no way I can get the camera down in there. It's right under this radiator hose. We'll just put that up over the hard line for now. Well, I sure hope this ain't just pouring out all over the floor. Oh, no, we're about full. All right, let's get this intake back on. Actually, you know what? How's this? Ooh, it might be time for a new air cleaner. Yeah, this air cleaner's getting a little bad. Maybe I should go get a new one. Oh, I just remembered we gotta tighten this back over here. All right, power steering is done. So another problem I would like to fix is the rockers on this truck are so rusted out that the running boards are no longer secure. Let me show you. So if I get into the truck and I step up on the running boards, see how much they bend sideways? Here's what's left of the rockers on this truck. So rockers are supposed to be this piece of metal here. You can actually see kind of some of the existing right here. This piece should extend all the way to this outer piece, and this should all still exist. And it doesn't. The cab is starting to rust out really bad. There's supposed to be a piece of steel right here. This right here is all supposed to be filled in, and it's all rusted out. That's the interior of the cab right there. That's the floor liner. So this truck is getting bad, and that's unfortunate. This has been a decent truck. I guess that's just the way salt on the road works. It just destroys vehicles. Now, I don't want to just get rid of the running boards because I am a short guy and I like using the running boards to get up into the truck. Let's try to figure out some sort of solution that's not going to involve rebuilding this truck, because this truck is not worth rebuilding those rockers. So I'm thinking of mounting some sort of bracket to the frame just to hold up those running boards a little bit better. All right, so here's what I came up with for a bracket underneath. Hopefully one of these is enough. If I need to make a second one, I certainly can. So this will bolt up to those 3 holes on the frame. This cable right here is for the parking brake. This truck doesn't have parking brakes anymore. So this bracket I built is gonna push this up out of the way a little bit. It's not gonna affect the truck any more than it's already affected. Well, that's not quite where I intended that to end up. I intended it to end up over here, about 1/2 inch that way, and it was going to be tucked up underneath there. But this actually might work because it's actually pressing up on that right now. So if I have to, I could put a shim up underneath there, but that side piece is pressing on it. So I'm going to drop this jack. Oh, sweet. Oh, dude, the whole thing is even solid. It hasn't been that stiff for it. Ooh, that didn't sound right. It's solid now. Inside the cab, I wanted to install a dash cam. Problem with having one in here is the outlets here are always on. So these don't turn off when the vehicle turns off. I want to install this unit right here, which is a 12 volt to 5 volt USB power supply. And I want to feed it off the fuses in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find one of these fuses that is only on when the ignition is on. And then we're gonna install one of these things here. This is a fuse extender, a circuit extender. So it actually takes 2 fuses. So it replaces a fuse. So we're gonna pull whichever one of those that we find, we're gonna pull one of those out. And then the fuse that's in there actually goes in this bottom set of holes here. And then this top set of holes, you can add a second fuse to, and that powers this wire here. So the idea is we can run this wire to this module on the positive side, and the negative side, we can just find some ground up under the dash. So if we have to, there's a steel bar right here I'm sure we could ground to. This is a circuit tracer. Oh, there we go. Now we got power on that 5 amp. I think I might go for that 5 amp fuse. Not sure what it does. The reason I want to go with that 5 amp fuse is there's no fuse right next to it. And that would actually give space for this wire to stick out in. If we unplug this 5 amp fuse and plug it in here, like so, I actually found another 5 amp fuse. So I think I'm just gonna put 2 5 amps in here. And these push in really hard, actually. There we go. So now 5 amps will come in and go back out where the original fuse was, and 5 amps will also come in and go out to whatever it is we plug in here, which is going to be this little module. So this red wire is going to connect to this red wire, and then this black wire is going to connect to this plate right here. So this extender is going to plug into the fuse box, and then we can actually poke it right out here. There's a nice little hole for us. We hook our probe up here. We should have no light, and we don't. But if I put power, if I turn the ignition on, there it is. All right, there's the USB. So I got a 1/4 inch bolt and a 1/4 inch nut. Where can I put the eyelet? Back here on the bolt. Yeah, then it's hidden. Now this just needs to be zip tied up here to this steel member. So I can't get that lid to fit back on, so whatever, I'm just gonna cover it back up with this. Good enough. Then we gotta start running this cord. So it needs to be ran from the camera up underneath this headliner, down this A-pillar here, and then down and around up underneath. So I think I might try to pop this handle off real quick. And I think I'm gonna try to get this handle off and get this trimmed down. This truck does not have side impact airbags. If it did, I certainly would not be messing with up here. Does this come down? Oh, just popped right off. Would you look at that? Wow, I wish the rest of the truck was this rust-free. All right, so the kit came with these little stickies. There's a hole back there. I wonder if I drop this down there, if it'll end up in the dash. Oh, I think I see it. I think I see it. Got it. Ha ha. So we should be able to put more of these stickies on. Now, can I get this back on? Oh, geez, that was simple. Boy, that's spinning an awful lot. Uh-oh. Oh, it's stripped. Yeah. I can just push that bolt right in. So I actually found an M5 nutsert, and I actually had the M5 set for the nutsert tool. So let's drill out the old stripped out nutsert that's in the pillar there, and we'll replace it with a new riv nut, and then we can just use the original bolt. And that hole feels a little loose. Oh, it feels like it grabbed. Ha! Heck yeah! Now let's see if it actually works. Ha ha! Nice. I'm definitely not gonna overdo that rib nut though. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, final step is to get that USB cable plugged into that USB port. Then I'm gonna wrap this mess up and zip tie it up here with this pillar. So the USB module ended up zip tied to this steel frame member here, and the rat's nest of USB cable ended up zip tied to this one. Everything's up out of the way of the pedals. Nothing can get snagged. So if we put the key in the ignition, dash cam should come on. Hey! All right, move on to something else. So under the back of the truck, this is where the spare tire is supposed to go, and the cable winch failed. So I got a new one of these. Let's put a new one on. The chances of these coming, holy cow, that actually came off. That is surprising. Wow, that surprised me. They weren't even that stuck. They weren't even stuck at all. This tube just snaps on. Go this way. Yeah, it must have. Yeah, there we go. Out with the old and in with the new. There, that hole lines up. Pop that tube up and in. Oh boy, that's all rusted out. Well, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that. There's a leak over here. Probably a rock caught down in the bead. Yeah, there's just a bunch of rocks down in there. There's another one right there. Oh geez, a couple of them right there. The rim actually looks just fine under there. Haha, look at that. I think it might have just been some debris. But hey, no more bubbles on that side. That's good. What about this side? I have used soapy water before, but I picked this stuff up and I kind of like this better than just soapy water. It's fluorescent and it bubbles up a lot more. I don't see any leaks on there either. Awesome. I do want to check the valve stem quick. Nope, no leaks out of the valve stem. Check this out. We got some foaming around the valve stem. Well, it's a good thing we checked that. Valve stem's bad. Well, I was gonna use the tractor to break the bead on this, but I just stood on it and it popped right down. So I picked up some new valve stems. I've never done a valve stem before, so this is gonna be my first time doing a valve stem. Now, I'm assuming we can just cut the old one off. So I just bent it over and kind of poked it with the razor blade here and it goes right through. There we go. Yeah, the inside of this tire looks brand new. Yeah, there we go. A little wire brush on a drill here. That cleans that up pretty decent. Now, like I said, I've never done a valve stem before. My understanding is these rubber ones, they look like that. So you pop them in from the other side. I think there's usually a tool that you can screw in to pull them through. But my truck actually has these metal ones on there, and I like these metal ones better. I don't know, they just seem heavier duty to me. It looks like you just pop these through, and then there's a washer, and then the nut. And that must be it. Actually, I think I'm mistaken. I think we got to put this adapter on because these metal ones are a universal kit and they come with 2 rubber gaskets. And I think for this size hole, we need to pop this gasket off and put this one on. So see the difference? This one's got a skinnier neck on it. And I think this skinnier neck actually fits inside that hole. So I'm gonna give that a try quick. Yep, that's exactly what it does. So now that gasket's up flush. So now we put the washer on and then the nut. Ha-ha! I think we got it. There we go. 35 PSI. And look, no leaks. And there we go. Spare tire up underneath. And I can still get to the valve stem to check the tire pressure later. I picked up a new air filter while I was in town. Exact same part number. It's actually the exact same thing I put in it last time. Alright, well I'm going to end the video working on this F-150 for now. Hopefully this is good for another 10,000 miles. This has been a pretty reliable truck. I've owned it for 11 years now. It's had some problems, but basically just minor maintenance. This truck is definitely nearing the end of its life. It's rusting out really bad. Mechanically, it runs just fine. Drives smooth, everything shifts properly, the transmission shifts properly, but it is rusting out really bad. There's not much left of the box, and the cab is starting to rust out pretty bad as well. But hopefully I can keep it on the road a couple more years until I can find a replacement for it. All right, let's go fix something else.